Eh bien,
Oui.
nous sommes en présence donc de Paul, le réalisateur du film, et de Ken, le producteur du film. Et donc, on va parler un petit peu donc de The Cottage et leur poser un peu quelques questions. Voilà.
Ok. Ok, donc on va faire la rencontre en français. Non, on va le faire en anglais. Vous pouvez poser des questions en français, anglais, italien, swahili, coréen, n'importe où, n'importe comment, et on va essayer de le faire. Donc, Mr. Williams, this was quite a change from your first movie now, was it?
Yeah, I mean, basically, this is my first film was a very serious and very gritty film about child prostitution, and this obviously is not a film about child prostitution. And yeah, we wanted to make a comedy, but also have some scares and jumps and pay homage to all those crazy slasher movies of years gone by. So yeah, it was a very different movie.
I thought it was a little bit. It started off as Carry On Kidnapping, and then it became Carry On the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, I mean, when I first wrote it about 5 years ago, I was trying to write the lowest budget film I could ever imagine, and I just set it in one house. And it was all about this kidnap, and it was basically just going to be with these few characters. And then I don't know how, but it ventured into this story about the farmer who kills and kills. Yeah, and it just got sillier and sillier, and obviously it was no longer a low-budget movie.
So, what inspired you that story?
The inspiration was my many years as a killer and skinning faces, pretty much. No, I just had the idea very quickly, and it just sort of progressed. And
But you never lived in a cottage or in a countryside.
my parents live in the countryside, but there are no murderers there.
Okay.
So, Mr. Marshall, what drew you to producing this project?
I just, when I first read the script, I mean, I love, obviously, horror films, and I love old school horror films. And I think that it was something so unique about a film that takes time to develop characters and uses, not your typical protagonists for this sort of film. And then, I think the film obviously hits on certain cliches and is somewhat derivative, but at the same time, it just always felt very fresh and very unique. So I just, it was a great script, and Paul and I met over that script and fell in love.
Yes, the characters they were very well drawn, because in the end we do really feel for those two dumb idiot brothers, and that's quite a success in that type of movie.
It was always important for me to have a relationship that people cared about with the brothers, because I think that with a lot of teen genre movies you see, it's all busty virgin students, and they're really two-dimensional characters, and you sort of don't end up giving a shit why, that they die, where the idea of building these characters up quite heavily meant that hopefully you'd care about them so much you'd follow them into this silly story where they went to this farm and they all got massacred.
And how did you get Andy Serkis involved? Because this is, I guess, his first really leading role outside of Golems or King Kongs or smaller parts.
Basically, Andy Serkis is with my agent, and my agent suggested him, and we met him, and he lives just very close to me, and I was just privileged. We're very privileged that he wanted to do it, and it was good for him, I think, because it was a chance for him to do something that was not, the CGI monster that everyone would probably be used to him playing, and he's just such a great actor. And although he's obviously great in all the films he does, the motion capture for, he's also a good actor on his own.
And so what about the rest of the cast?
Can you
tell us about the girl?
The girl in England is
very famous.
Her name's Jennifer Ellison. She's more famous, to be honest, as a cover girl. She's obviously very sexy and very pretty, and She did a soap opera for a very long time, and then suddenly became this, sex symbol. And she did a film with Joel Schumacher. She was in Phantom of the Opera, where she had quite a big part. And then eventually, she was suggested to us, and she auditioned and she read, and she was fantastic. And it was like, yeah, she's the one. Can I have that beer, please? Is that all right? Ken, fucking drinking my beer.
Where's my beer?
Sorry, Ken's drinking my beer.
Don't leave
He's the
these
producer.
people without beer. It's offensive. Okay. Maybe next question. 2 days ago, we had the opener, The Eye, with the French directors Moreau and Palut. And now you have you guys with your horror movie. And as well as in France, as in Britain, there seems to be a revival of the horror movies the last 10 years. It kind of was quiet in the 80s, late 80s, 90s it was quiet, but then Simon Pegg and the Shaun of the Dead and Severance thing came on, and then you guys are now. Do you think this is, in England now, also the thing to produce? So this is a question really for both of you. Is this the sort of project that gets easily made or more easily made?
I don't think so, actually. I think the blending of genres, mixing horror and comedy is very difficult, and most financiers, they will read the script and they will be scared because it's very hard to get that right. And Shaun of the Dead is a great film, and it's a spoof or a homage. I think it's easy to say that we're similar to them because we're horror and comedy, but it's still a very different film. And I think at the end of the day, you're either a good film or you're not a good film. I don't think it's gonna mean there's gonna be a whole slew of British horror films coming out. Britain's been lucky that they've made a couple of good films recently, but I'm sure we'll be making shit films as well. It's
Britain or us?
No, Britain, not us, of course.
Yeah, horror, the thing about horror is it's a genre that will never die. Do you know what I mean? It's something that has such a hardcore fan group. It's one of the only genres, that aside from Kung Fu perhaps, where people really, really, really follow it and really care about it and are very passionate about it. The same, I don't know, I haven't been to a romantic comedy festival anywhere, or no, not so. Look at this place; it's fantastic, and the show of support and the fans who've come to see the movies. It really is incredible. I've never. It's just, you guys are fantastic, actually.
We were really shitting ourselves before the presentation, and the song Paul wrote the speech earlier today. He was very nervous, but I think he did a good job with his French.
No.
Can we talk a little bit about the farmer? The character of the farmer?
Oh, the farmer.
Yeah.
The farmer. The farmer is basically, I was trying to think of what would, if someone was in the woods and someone was killing people, what would it be, or who would it be? And it would be a crazy, disfigured man who was injured in a farming accident and wanted to kill and skin and all this sort of stuff. And of course, it's a fucking rip-off of everything. Do you know what I mean? The idea of doing a bogeyman has been done 100 billion times before. So the idea was to not shy away from it and to sort of embrace the fact that it was a little bit of a cliche, with the scrapbook and the diary and the skins. And, I know it's been done before. I know it's not original, but hopefully we've embraced that and sort of accepted that.
Also in the humor, you went a very long way, because the first few gags were like, oh my God, now somebody's gonna trip over a banana peel. But after a while, you want him to trip over a banana peel, because exactly these characters are really that dumb, and that worked perfectly in the movie.
One guy who saw it, he said it was very much like Laurel and Hardy, and those kind of slapstick things where, they're it's just relentless about how many things can go wrong. And because there's only four main characters, it just happens to the same guys non-stop. And I think that, for me, the sort of silly humor, the rake, when he walks onto the rake, it's so obvious and it's so daft, and it's just, you know, that's all it's supposed to be, is just a silly, fun, you know, movie.
And for just like 2 minutes getting a little bit more serious, in my introduction I mentioned Ken Loach, but I was of course referring to your first movie, London to Brighton, which I absolutely love. And I think the best way to summarize that movie is Ken Loach meets Get Carter. That was the kind of sense I got in that movie. Could you tell me something more about that project, because it's so different from this movie?
Okay, as I said, the first project, which I don't know, it's been released in Belgium, I think, now.
It's out on DVD this week or last week.
It was a very low budget, like €150,000 movie about a young prostitute and a pedophile and a younger prostitute and a pedophile and gangsters and a runaway, and it was all. You know, we made it very under the radar, and then suddenly it became this massive film, and the critics were crazy about it, and awards and festivals all over the world, and agents and madness, and you know. But I always want to make different films. I like going to see different films. You know, I would be a shit chef if all I did was make curry. You know, you have to continue to. It's all about the story, and I don't think the genre is as important as the story, basically.
Misschien zijn er vragen in het publiek? Question dans le public? Quelqu'un? Ah, là-bas. Le micro baladeur? Ou le micro? Moi, j'ai un micro aussi, donc. Allez.
Smile.
First of all, I enjoyed the movie immensely.
Thank you.
And my question is, this is one of the very, very few slashers that I've ever seen that leave no chance absolutely for a sequel. So you're not in the sequel business, are you?
Well, do you know what? If you would have stayed till the end, after the credits, there is a... Anyone stayed till the end?
There is?
Thank you, because after the credits, there is The Farmer Returns, ready for the, you know...
Oh, no.
You should have told us this in advance.
Got to say, but the thing is the reason we did that is because all those slasher movies have that moment where, you know, the main bad guy is dead, or we think he's dead, and then, of course, he comes back to life. And that is why we did it as a homage or a pastiche to those films where, you know, Freddy dies 50 times and then comes back, and Jason gets his head cut off, and wow, he's back again. You know, it was that sort of thing. But I should have said, I forgot, man, to stay at the beginning, stay till after the credits. Because I was so into my song, and I was so into my French, and I missed it.
So I suppose I have to get the DVD now.
Yeah.
It ended with Finn, and then after a while, a question mark came up. So we're, you know, encouraging studios to offer us money to do the sequels. You see, we leave it open.
And now you're encouraging the audience to buy the DVD.
We.
Good business plan. En nog vragen, de question? Quelqu'un? Someone in the back?
Thanks, guys. I mean, we go back to England tomorrow, so you need to fill it up.
Can you tell us more about the relationship in between the farmer and the basement girls?
Okay, well, that was his family, and basically, he lost his face, and then that made him very angry, and he wanted to relive the days when he was married and happy days, but obviously his wife and children were not liking that very much. So basically, he locked them down in the basement in the wedding gear, and he just fed them over years the bodies of the victims he had, and so they ended up being a bit cannibalistic. It's total nonsense, obviously, and not real life, and that's how they ended up in the cellar, and they like to eat men.
Thanks.
No worries, dude. Thanks for asking. Anyone else? Question? Anyone? Beulah? Anyone?
Everyone. Ah,
It's like a relay race of passing things.
Yeah, the mic's going everywhere.
Hi.
Hello.
Do you have the phone number of the actress?
Yeah, I can give it to you in a second.
She's also on Facebook. You can find her.
Cool. That was maybe the only thing I heard in the audience that they were complaining about. Why was there no nudity?
Because
Strip club.
strip club, there was tit.
There was tit in the
there was
strip
breasts.
club. Yeah, sorry. Forgot
I
about
personally am against nudity of all kind.
Who saw the Oxford murders yesterday? Nice.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, nudity. I mean, the thing is she's very well known. She wouldn't have been nude anyway, but you know, I think it's always better to see your girlfriend and partner naked and admire that body, and not necessarily look at all the sexy women who appear in movies.
Okay, before we all start cuddling, maybe some of your actual projects. Are there anything you guys are working on right now?
I'm working on this nude porno flick, which should be coming out soon. No, I'm basically working. We're doing a film later in the year, which is very different to this one. It's a film about two old age pensioners who live on an estate, and it's very, very different. It's much more nice and sweet. There's no killing or nudity, because old people nude is a different kind of film.
It's only a horror film if you hate old people. Otherwise, it's not for BIFFF.
It won't be for BIFFF. It will be for lovable films. I don't know.
Lovable Film Festivaling. Nog een laatste vraag misschien uit het publiek. Dernière question uit het publiek.
Any questions? Any ladies? Any questions from any ladies? No, I'm joking. Any questions? Is that it?
Anyone? 3, 2, 1, go. No. Okay, then my final question to you both guys, to both of you guys, is my final question. I ask every director, every producer, every actor that's here on stage. The dream project. What would be your dream project? A limited budget, stars, book, comic book, whatever you want. What would be the dream movie for you guys to make? And if you have one, you have to tell.
Well, it's actually a really serious film, and it brings the tone down. But I actually very much want to make a Holocaust movie about a death camp called Sobibor and the revolt that took place. And yeah, it's not fun to talk about. So yeah, you just brought the atmosphere really low down.
Are you, Mr. Marshall, anything in particular?
Fuck knows. I don't know.
Ken makes all my movies, so he produces all my films.
Actually, my dream project is a film about the Holocaust, and it's really depressing. But let's talk about fun things.
Yeah, let's spin that question around now. For the first time, I'm gonna spin it. What would be your nightmare project? Okay, you wake up one morning. There's a truck full of money on your lawn. You gotta do this movie. It's just too tempting, but the movie is crap. What would it be?
It's a movie called I Pull a Roller Skate, starring Jennifer Lopez. And Jennifer Lopez lives in New York, and she has this roller skate, and she pulls it around, and that's a 25-word synopsis.
For me, it would be Love Actually.
Love Actually, been there, done that. Thank you guys, Mr. Marshall, Mr. Williams, for coming to the BIFFF, presenting this movie. We had a lot of fun with it. Stay for the night. There's going to be some really cool movies on later on. So stay for the beers, stay for the women, stay for the night. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy your stay. Big round of applause.
Thank you all very much for watching the movie.
Thank you. If anybody wants anything signed, signatuur, dédicace, aantekeningen, they'll be here for you.